Purpose in the Youth podcast. Welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast.
Don't give up until you find your thing.
Don't be afraid that you don't know what you want to do yet, because I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. I still don't know what I want to do yet.
I'm still trying to figure that out. If you don't have it figured out early, don't think you're never going to find it.
You really make your own opportunity.
What do you genuinely enjoy?
Everything is strategic. I mean, nothing ends up how you want it to end up.
You go around once, there's no dress rehearsal.
But you have to understand yourself to know what your passions are, and then it just comes really easily.
Keep looking for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast with your favorite bearded man, the one, the only, Bobbbaaaay. Today on the show, we have Sabina Gadecki. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
What's
Thanks
up?
for having me.
I am super excited for this podcast for two big reasons. You have an extremely amazing resume, but there's two things about you that I am super excited about. First off, you're from Chicopee, Massachusetts, so let's go. Both from the same hometown, holding it down in the 413. But second of all, what really made me so excited about this podcast was you were part of the Entourage movie, which Entourage by far is my number one favorite TV show of all time. I always said it was it's like the men's woman's Sex in the City.
Yeah,
like the women's
100%.
love Sex in the City, and it's like the guys love the Entourage. So I am so excited to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here, and thanks for that. Yeah, it's Entourage was a heck of an experience, to say the least.
Oh my God. Just that crew, I can't even imagine. It must have been just a good time, to say the least.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Extremely intimidating going into it.
Yeah.
Like probably one of the most intimidating processes you could really go through as an actor.
Did you watch a lot of Entourage before, or was it kind of just no?
I mean,
Okay.
I think a lot of that. I didn't really watch a lot of TV growing up. I think that comes from having two parents from Poland.
Yeah.
That I didn't grow up with normal pop culture.
Yeah.
So I didn't, but obviously I was familiar with the show. I would catch episodes here and there, and yeah, and I remember when I had the opportunity to audition for it, I was like, this is amazing. I was so excited.
Yeah, because you know exactly by the
Yeah,
time
of course.
you're walking into it, you're like, I'm literally about to audition for Entourage. This is clearly a big deal, but
Yeah.
it almost helps. I feel like that you weren't the biggest fan of it, because I feel like that would bring more jitters of
Totally,
this is my
100%.
favorite show.
Well, everyone was like, when we were going up to film, everyone's like, have you watched everything leading up to this? I'm like, honestly, here's the thing. I'm going to do the best I can in this audition.
Yeah.
Why would I want to get myself nervous?
Yes.
I'm going to prepare and do the best I can. So
Yeah.
for me to actually watch it, and if my character had something to do with previous episodes,
have to watch it.
It would have been,
Yeah.
it obviously would have been relevant, but it wasn't. I knew that very clearly. So I was like, there's no point in me binge watching, becoming a fan, and then just psyching myself out and making myself extremely nervous.
Because then you're thinking about all the things that have happened to get to
Totally.
this point. This is
100%.
the grand finale
I
movie.
can't
You know what I
believe
mean?
I'm part of this. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go in with, and it's funny. Even with a lot of my auditions, people are like, do you Google and see who you're auditioning for? And I'm like, no, it doesn't serve. I mean, of course, it's good to be educated.
Yeah.
If you get questioned and quizzed, but for me myself, I just would prefer to go in with the same, whether it's the smallest thing or the biggest thing. I just want to go in just doing my best and not being
You're going
psyched out.
110%, no matter if this is the smallest opportunity
Totally.
or if it's going to be the biggest opportunity.
Totally.
And sometimes just not knowing this fine details is better, because even when I'm bringing guests onto the show, I want to know enough about them so I have some context, but I don't want to know every single thing about them, because it's like, how am I going to build out their story if I know everything about them? It's
Totally.
tell me where you're from. Oh, word, I already know she's from Chicopee. You know what I mean? Let's get past that.
100%.
So it's just interesting. First question I always ask my guests: who is Sabina Gadecki today, and how young is she?
Ooh. Who am I today?
Who are you today?
Who am I today?
How do you describe who you are today?
God, that is a tough one. That is a tough question. Let's see. I feel like I finally know who the hell I am. I feel like I've had some life curveballs come my way in the last couple of years.
Some tough ones.
Blindsided with some life for sure came down and humbled me in a lot of ways. Of just, I was on this one path and I was like, this is my life. Great. This is where I'm going to be. And my life was planned out, and I'm getting married, and I was in a very long 10-year relationship, and then all of a sudden my world
was David Lee, right?
Yeah, and then just it just goes to show you that there's that quote. It's you try to make a plan and you hear God laughing. It's you can't plan life.
Yeah.
So who I am today, I think I finally know who I am. I think I've been humbled in a good way of just really going back to who I was
Before everything.
Before everything, if
Yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense. Like, I think I'm extremely grateful. I like treasure every moment. Like, I've been working really, really hard with acting for a long time. And I think maybe at 20, I was like, oh, fuck it, everything. Oh, sorry, can I swear?
No, you can say whatever.
Okay.
That's one thing. I forget to tell my
asked.
guests. Yes, we're here having a good conversation. Be who you are.
Okay. So
'Cause I swear like a
I-
fucking sailor.
okay, great. So I feel like I appreciate like hard work, the business, everything in a way that I didn't before. I appreciate relationships, friendships, all kinds of things in life in a way that I hadn't before. So I think I'm in a place I'm 34. So I think at 34 that
34 years young.
Yeah, 34 years young. I'll
Killing it.
take that.
You're
Listen.
killing it.
No, like
You're just
listen.
getting started, as we talked about
You
before
know what
the
though?
podcast.
I actually it's so funny because being an actor in LA, everyone's like, don't say your age.
Yeah, why is that?
And I started like my dad. He's fine. So this is not like a sob story. My dad's fine, but he got diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Okay.
I'm not gonna sit here and like be like, oh, I'm 34. I'm so ashamed of that. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm 34. I'm
Yeah.
proud of that. I
Yeah.
worked my ass off. I've come a long way.
Yeah.
I'm like healthy. I woke up today. I'm
Yeah.
like super grateful. So where I am, who Sabina is today, I think I find gratitude and appreciation in life in a way that I never had before.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does make sense. And that's one thing that sometimes I get a little nervous asking people about their age, but it's like, I actually saw when I was doing the research for this, something in a Facebook comment, you had responded to somebody and it made the comment about like, yeah, I'm 34 years young and I'm still going. Like, I think you said something about aging better. And I was like, she got the right
something
mentality.
about getting rowdy. You know what it is? My parents both are Polish. They're both rowdy as hell.
Yep.
I've just always had this mentality. I mean, my parents are just the life of a party. Especially my dad really steps it up a notch. Like my dad.
Polish know how to party. Is he a big vodka guy?
Oh my God.
Typical.
Little quick story. My parents threw me an engagement party in Central Park last July.
Okay.
And my dad is walking around in the middle of Central Park at 2 p.m. with little plastic shot glasses, and people that don't drink were like,
What are you doing?
I don't know how to not do this. I just need to take this shot. He's so happy.
Yeah.
Everyone was bummed. But I was like, Dad, I don't think you can carry this. It's this bottle of Krupnik. It's this like Polish liquor. And he's like, has 50, 60 people taking the shot, one after another. So I've kind of grown up with this like rowdy mentality of like, I just like to have fun.
Yeah.
I just like to have fun. So I'm rowdy and I blame them.
So you got both those parents, Richard and Irina, I believe, correct?
Yes.
With them being the Polish, I'm Polish too.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the biggest values or lessons that they taught you as a kid that you still kind of carry with you today?
My parents just celebrated their 44th wedding
Let's
anniversary.
go.
Like super.
That's commitment right
but
there.
they're like, I think a lot of what they've carried on to me is just really living life, appreciating the moment, cherishing each other. Like the amount of love and respect they have for each other is wild.
Yeah.
Like it's cute. They met. My mom was 15. My dad was 22 when they met.
Okay.
Got married when she was. I know it sounds weird.
Yeah,
They got married.
it's all
It was
good.
different back
It's all
then.
good. It was much
Well,
different.
no, they got married when she was 19. But they're I really admire who they are as a couple. Like to this day, if I'm
They're still like fully in love.
totally grabbing each other's asses and I like take pictures and stuff. Like it's really sweet. But I think their values and they're just the kindest souls.
Yeah.
Like when people, I'll never forget. Years ago, I was working on the World Poker Tour on the Travel Channel, and one of the directors came up to me and he's like, "What your parents have, they're like love and joy for life." Like they were in Vegas seeing the Bellagio fountains with tears in their eyes.
Oh,
They're like,
man.
my parents are just like, I can't believe we're here in Vegas because of you. Thank you for this opportunity. So I think what I hope to always have in life is just that awe of life and experience and gratitude that like they have. Like
They just
the
appreciated
fact
it.
that they're looking at the Bellagio fountains with like tears in their eyes is
Yeah.
just like something I hope to always have. And like I said, this guy from the World Poker Tour was like, whatever that innocence that they have, please you never lose that. I
Yeah.
hope you always carry that love and joy for life that they have.
And that ends up getting pushed onto you because as you grow up, I feel like you kind of, without knowing it, you are learning from them and seeing the love. And it's
100%.
it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's how life is supposed to be, and that's how I'm gonna have to treat my loved ones or family or friends
Totally.
like that. In high school, you did dance, cheerleading.
Yep.
Chicopee High School alum.
Chicopee
Let's
High!
go. Let's
I
go.
love it. You're
I was
from
actually
Chicopee.
I was born in Comp District, so I was supposed to go to Chicopee Comp, but all my friends from Bellamy went to Chicopee High, so I had to apply every single year to go to Chicopee High.
Are you serious?
And my biggest scare was like, what if my senior year they don't? I mean, granted, I was always good with grades. I was very active in school. I was part of the clubs, and I made sure my voice was heard. But I was like, what if my senior year they say no, and I have to go to Chicopee Comp? I was so nervous. But how would you describe who Sabina was in high school?
Gosh, it's so funny. I feel like I was like, I wasn't the dorky kid, and I wasn't the cool kid. I feel like I was like middle of the road.
Okay.
Like I had the friends that no one would talk to, and then I had the friends that were the cool kids. I lived it sounds so stupid now, but off of Burnett Road.
Yeah, I know. B Road. We called it B Road.
Okay, so when I was in high school, everyone called it like the BRC, the Burnett Road Crew.
Oh my god!
And everyone had like shirts made.
So it was a thing. Still,
it was like a thing.
If you lived on Burnett, you were like your own.
It was like the cool. It was like the cool crew. So everyone had like shirts made, and so I was like a little bit of that, but a little bit of like friends with the friends that no one really talked to. I think I was like right in the middle there.
It's probably a smart thing to have that where you kind of just know a little bit of everybody. Like I mean, if you have no problems with people, just kind of.
Totally.
Be up with
and
people.
Also, I think like my parents grew up so poor in Poland, so poor. Like my mom lived in she has 6 siblings, and they all lived in one room in Poland on a farm, and they had beds made of hay.
Wow.
So I feel like for me, my upbringing, like I would never ever make fun of somebody for like that was less than or anything. Yeah. So I feel like my parents really instilled that on me. I never made fun of anybody because like. God forbid, no one knows what my parents went through. Yeah. My mom like walks with her head held high and a smile on her face, but like went through hell as a kid.
Did when they moved here, did they have a lot of family that moved out here too? Because Chicopee is a heavy Polish population.
Super Polish.
Heavy.
Do you speak Polish?
I don't speak. So I'm like Polish and Irish. I'm like a true Polish. I'm not even like a true Irish. But I got the red beard, and I got the white Polish skin, so I get burnt like hell in the summertime. But I don't speak any Polish, unfortunately.
It's my first language. My parents were like, it's so funny actually. When my fiance now, about 3 months into dating, he came home to my hometown. Well, Chicopee. I don't even say hometown like you don't know.
Nobody knows, right?
Yeah, I'm always like used to talking to people that have no idea where I'm from. Anyway, so Tyler came to Chicopee with me. And he's like, your nieces speak Polish, second generation. So my family only speaks Polish. My 2 little nieces.
So they're trying to keep the language.
So he's like, so your sister-in-law doesn't know what they're saying. I'm like, no. He's like, so they can talk shit about her when they get older, and your sister-in-law won't know. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, fuck that, I'm learning. So he's been learning Polish.
He has been.
Yeah, it's actually like annoying how good he is at picking up.
Are
language.
you mad because now you can't talk shit about him?
I can't.
You can't.
I can't.
He's gonna pick up on it.
No, it's like he likes the air super cold, and both my mom and I like it like 80 degrees in the house. So when we're home for like the holidays or in the summer, I'm like talking shit in the kitchen with my mom about how cold it is and how much I like.
You don't like it. You don't like it.
I hate it. And then he's like in the other room. He's like, I hear you guys. I understand you.
I can understand you now.
I understand you. Like, so it's not.
Wow. Props to Tyler for learning it. That's not easy.
Annoying though, because I wish I could pick up Spanish in the way he picks up Polish, because I don't have like that.
Spanish is one thing I wish I took more serious in high school. 100%. That was a huge other. It was Polish. I mean, that was the best thing about growing up in Chicopee. There's Polish, Ukrainians, Russians. A lot of Spanish speaking, so it was like a melting pot, and I didn't really realize because it was so natural to just grow up in that environment until I got older. I went to college and I met people that had grown up in neighborhoods of literally just all of what they were, and I was like, man, I feel so bad for you because I grew up in a melting pot of all different people, and it was like the best thing possible.
I wish I took Spanish more seriously. Like I like paid attention to get by.
Yeah.
But now I wish I paid attention to like
actually learn
learn the language.
I was like, see, okay, pass the test.
I'm like, I did a good job, done.
I'm not gonna learn anything else.
100%.
You won Miss Western Mass, Miss Polina by 18, Miss Polina World by 19. How do you think like winning those pageants so early on like helped you continue to be? I guess I could say confident in yourself, because you end up obviously going, which we'll get into, of like modeling and more entertainment and acting.
Yeah. Something
like that so early on, I would imagine kind of fueled you of like, I could literally do any of this type of work if I wanted to.
I think how it helped me was a lot of these pageants aren't just like a beauty pageant of like swimsuit, and there are a lot of them you have to have a platform, something you believe in, something you're like working towards, or how you're trying to help. And like, as you know, at 17, 18, 19, you know, something that really resonated with me was people in hospitals dealing with cancer. So I started working with like collecting teddy bears for kids with cancer and elderly, and like my skill set was dance, so I would go and like dance and like do my ballet number and like nursing homes and stuff. So I feel like it made me doing these pageants, not only it wasn't just like an aesthetic thing, it was sort of like what what makes you you, what makes you like a better person. So I think it kind of doing those competitions at an early age kind of really made me a better human being to think about others rather than just myself.
Yeah, so it was really, there was a purpose driven behind it, and then winning it was just like icing to the cake. It was like I
didn't think I was going to win.
I'm
going
to
to
win
be honest.
something.
I didn't
No,
think I was
not
going
at
to
all.
win. No, I mean, it just like, I don't know, being from Chicopee, you kind of, I don't know, I almost feel like I had this mentality of like, I'm from Chicopee. Like, I don't know, how could I, there's girls from New York City, there's girls from Los Angeles. Like, how could I compete with that, you know? But I feel like with that comes some like sincerity as well. Like, I don't know, I think that's what kind of maybe people had liked, that I wasn't arrogant. Yeah.
I know. It's so different growing up. I mean, I just think about even now living in LA, I think about the people that are growing up in this city. And I'm like, man, I'm so happy I didn't grow up here. I'm so happy I grew up on the East Coast in Chicopee because I appreciate that life. And now I appreciate being here so much more because there's just so much going on in the city. I find it almost impossible. Like, how do kids even figure out who they are? Like, they can't even just go ride around the block like I did in Chicopee. I would ride my bike from Granby Road in Chicopee to Burnett Road safely, no issues.
Love that.
No cars are coming. Nobody's honking at me. Police always everywhere, so you felt safe. And it's like, you're in LA, and I mean, you can't really just, depending on the neighborhood you're in, for the most part, you can't just ride around like that. And
not at all.
It makes for a difference for kids growing up. You went to Holyoke Community College and got your associates there. In my family, we refer to it as the Hobart Community College because so much of our family has gone there. So you went there, you got associates in theater and communications, and then you went on to Fordham University, which is in New York City, international business major, communication minor. Were you actually passionate about business / going to Fordham, or did you look at it as this is an easy way to get to New York City with a lot of opportunity?
You know what? With my parents being from Poland, and they just gave me the best life that they possibly could have. I've always wanted.
I never asked, did you have any brothers or sisters?
I have a brother.
You have
I have a brother. He's 6 years older. He's like my best friend. We could not be any more opposite.
Do you guys, like, growing up though, did you like bump shoulders at all?
He was just like, no, he was just my big brother. He was like my best friend. Looked out for me, really protective, super protective.
That's how I have a younger sister. I was always the same. Like,
especially
let me talk to these guys.
6 age.
That's
it's a big gap.
Yeah,
so like, when I when I was in high school, my brother was like in college. So he was like, the tough.
Big difference.
Yeah, big difference. But what was I saying?
So Fordham, like.
So when I went to college, I mean, when I moved to New York, I was like, I want to be an actor. It's what I've always wanted to do. But like, what opportunity do you have in Western Mass? Like, I didn't have connections and resources. I had no idea. Like, I don't. My mom and dad, like, they did the best they could to like put me in acting classes there. But like, I mean,
you got to be in the right big cities. You have to
figure it out for yourself too. I had nobody to help guide me and handhold me at all. So when I moved to New York, it was for acting, but I was like, I better have a fallback plan because I don't have anybody to take care of me but me. Like, I can't be like, hey, mom and dad, I need money for a house or a car.
They gave you everything that you needed.
They gave me everything I needed to be on my own 2 feet, to step forward in life and be a grown woman and take care of myself. So I went to college for that. I had an interest in it, speaking Polish, and I love business. And I was like, if acting doesn't work out, then I hope to be, in international business in some capacity. And let's hope to God I don't have to ever use that degree.
It's going to be the backup plan.
It's the backup plan. So I went, my family didn't force me to do it. I did it for myself. But I hope I never have to use it.
I don't think you're going to need to at this point. Let's not jinx it though. But where did the acting like stem from? Like, why were you so interested in doing acting or anything in that world?
It was like the weirdest thing. I like couldn't.
As a kid, you just like.
As a kid.
Okay.
I like couldn't wait to move from Chicopee.
Where to? Anywhere?
Like New York City.
Okay, so that was already.
I was obsessed, obsessed with moving away. I never really. It's weird. Like, it never felt like home. Like, I love going home and my family being there, and they still live in my childhood home that I grew up in. Like, that's the best feeling in the world. Yeah. But it never felt like it's where I needed to be. Yeah. So the second I could move away, I did. I dipped out the second I could.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I feel like I will always love Chicopee. And if my mom hears this, she's going to be like, they want me to come back. And it's like, that place gave me everything that I needed in this world, but I'm so much more comfortable where I am now because I know this is where the opportunities are, it's like.
And listen, if my passion was being an esthetician or something of that capacity, then that would feel like home and I would be so fulfilled in my heart. But because I've always wanted to be an actor and I always sort of felt like since I was a kid, everyone's like, well, you have to go to a major city. So I
Yeah.
feel like maybe that was instilled in
You
me
just
early
knew
on
you
that I
had to
just
go.
couldn't do what I wanted to do here.
Yeah.
I'd be totally content living in Chicopee if like my passion would somehow
Yeah.
allow me to pursue a career
Yeah,
there.
a lot cheaper to live there
Totally,
too. So
hun-
you'd be
sign me up.
rolling in the
100%.
dough. You'd have a mansion on Burnett Road. You'd have the whole block to
100%.
yourself. Was it when you were at Fordham? Is that when you locked in the hosting of the World Poker Tour? Were you still in school? Or was that
Yeah,
after
I was
school?
still in school for
Okay.
that. So I was with this agent in New York, and they're like, they want you to videotape yourself auditioning. And this is 10 years ago at this point, so
Yeah.
it wasn't like video. You can't like videotape on your iPhone like you can now.
Yeah, it's so easy.
So like it's so funny. Two of my best friends, I had lines I needed to read, so many lines, and I couldn't memorize them fast enough. So my friends printed out the lines and taped them to their chests, and like had them on their hands, and like holding it up, and had a straight up video camera. And I was like walking down my hallway, and we had like all the lampshades.
this
off.
is in your dorm room or something?
In my, I never lived in the dorms. I lived in an apartment, but like
okay.
I shared a bedroom. It was a dorm,
Okay.
but not like it was. It was
Everybody that was in there was for college, pretty much.
Yeah, we were in. I had a curtain down the middle, splitting
Oh
my
my
bedroom, so
God.
it was as much of a dorm room as it could have been. But yeah, I auditioned in New York for it. Sent my straight up video cassette to LA for it. My best friends helped me record it. Actually, two of my friends from Chicopee. We all went to Chicopee High together. They're like, let's do this. So we all they helped me record it, and I sent it over, and I ended up coming out to LA for it, and I was like, how is this happening? And then I booked it, and it was
That must have been the most eye-opening thing to just
Crazy.
go from like being in school to now I have a huge opportunity.
it's amazing.
And that was the 5th season for
Yeah, it
them?
was the 5th season. It
So
was fun, but it wasn't. Hosting's not my thing.
Yeah, but you kind of understood like this is an opportunity that I need to take because it's a major platform and who knows what could come of it.
100%.
So did you go in knowing like I'm just going to do this for a season, or was it just
I went into it thinking maybe hosting's what I want to do,
Mm.
and then it's a tough position because with the World Poker Tour, I basically have to interview people when they've just lost out on millions of dollars.
as
And
if
no
they
one-
want to talk to you.
No one wants to talk to me. It was like I had to be like, hey, and smiling and being fake and cheesy in people's faces, and
Yeah.
like it just wasn't me. Like I didn't want to do that, and because I feel like I'm so sensitive and I like resonate with people and their emotions. I'm like, acting's for sure where my heart is. Like
Yeah.
I can't look at this human being in front of me that's like sad
And
right
act
now
like you're
and,
happy
and be
and-
smiling and ignoring what they're going through. I was like, acting's where I need to be. This is for sure my thing. So
Yeah, and I mean something like that. You get to travel a lot. You were meeting tons of people
amazing.
all the time. Like, how do you think that helped you grow as a person in that experience? Because I mean, how often did you guys travel city to city? Was this weekly? Was this
monthly. So we'd
monthly?
be like in Paris and Bahamas and
Wow.
random cities, Tunica, Mississippi. Like we'd be all over the place. So it was, I mean, really, I've really grown. I don't mind being alone. I think
Yeah.
people were like, oh, is it so hard? I'm like, I actually love it. I got to explore Paris by myself, which was weirdly amazing.
And this is your early 20s too.
Yeah.
So this is like your freedom. This
Totally,
is
it
like
was
the time
amazing.
pop the bottles.
I was
Like I do
having
whatever I want.
champagne by myself and lavish dinners
Oh
solo, and I
my
loved
God.
it. But it was fun. It was good. I loved it. I grew a lot, and I really figured out that it's not what I wanted to
Yeah.
do. So it was.
But it was a good entry point to get your
100%,
name out
yeah.
there and kind of get out there. Now from that, is you signed to Ford Models? Are you still? Or was that
Yeah, I was-
short term or
no,
how-
I signed with Ford in New York. I'm with Wilhelmina here, so I
Okay.
still model.
Okay.
Super grateful for it. Love it.
Did the Ford come because of that exposure?
Yeah, actually, well, what happened was I didn't have print representation.
Okay.
So they'd have me doing like print jobs for like Motorola and all these, and they'd be like, "Oh, here's $500," and I'm like, "Is that right?" Like I don't feel like
Yeah.
I did like.
Should I be getting more? Should I
is
be
it
getting
less?
Yeah.
Or, no, definitely not less. But I was
Yeah.
like, I feel like I should be getting more. Like I feel like I worked a lot for that.
Yeah.
Like, so I went into Ford kind of not really thinking, similar. I wanted to be an actor always. So I went
Mm-hmm.
into Ford being like, maybe this will work out. And they signed me, and I was with them for about 8 years before moving out here. They were amazing. So good to me. It was.
I mean, in the modeling world, that is like one of the biggest
It's for sure.
agency
Yeah,
to
and I
be part
definitely
of.
didn't think. I was like, I was like, there's no way they're gonna sign me, and they signed me, and I was
For
like,
8 years though. That's
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
I mean, I would probably they're still in New York, and
Yeah.
they have like, so I still do it out here with Wilhelmina here, and
Yeah.
they're amazing. Like I love them because there's such like in LA, there's such like a fitness market for
Oh my
like, so I
God.
shoot a lot.
Make sure
for,
you
like,
have your
Shape
green
magazine.
juice, walking
Yeah,
out of
yeah,
yoga.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so LA. So LA.
LA.
even within that 8 years, or even modeling today, how do you go about like locking in these jobs? Like how do you know when you get to these big agencies, I would imagine there's so much work that's coming in on the pipeline. Like, how do you decide what's worth your time and energy? Because obviously, at the end of the day, I mean, you want to do the job that makes you the most money, but I would imagine there comes to a balance of like, well, I know I'm going to like this job because I'm passionate about this brand. I'll take a pay cut and be able to work with people that I actually care about. So how do you balance like what to do and what not to do?
Specifically to modeling or acting? I guess
both. Let's just take both then.
Okay, so for modeling, you know, I love it and I'm so great. Well, this is actually funny. You know how we talked about my age originally?
Yep.
For modeling, I lie every time. Every time, because I'm going.
Whoa. They don't do the research and know like beforehand. Like we know her age.
They ask, like you'll have a sign-in sheet and you'll sign in, but like it's so about perception. So like I don't give a shit that I'm 34 because I'm like healthy and alive and grateful. Yeah. But for like modeling stuff, I lie.
So what will you say?
Give me an like 25. Because I can't. Because people, I'm telling you, when I was honest. Yeah. Because they're not Googling me there or anything. So when I walk in and they're like meeting me, and I'd be like 34, and they'd be like, wait, holy shit, really? Oh wow, you don't look it. Oh wow. And I'm like, so I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I don't even want that reaction. But like for the most part, when I'm on jobs for modeling, I'm working with like 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds. So I'm like, whatever.
So you just say 25, 26, and they don't even flinch.
So I'm like, great. I'll do it as long as I can. But as far as like what jobs I will and won't do, so for modeling, like I think my agents are all pretty mindful that I'm an actor, so they're really great with like steering my career to things specific that won't really ever haunt me. Yeah. I was shooting for something recently where my client was like, "Can you wear this?" And it was like shapewear. And I was like, not going to be on the internet in like Spanx.
Yeah, I'm all set. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So like there's sometimes that I do need to protect myself because I don't want to be like in a weird body shaping outfit on the internet if I'm like pursuing a career. That stuff like comes back.
It's completely the wrong.
I love that I'm saying that. Meanwhile, I was naked in Entourage. I'm like, I don't want to be in Spanx. It's bad for my career. Meanwhile, I'm naked.
You don't even care. I mean, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get the role. Was it tough to finally get that? I would imagine now at your point in your career, was it tough in the beginning to find like the right agents and the right management to get to a point where you trust these people overlooking everything?
Yeah, it's tough because you get caught up in the names sometimes. So when I came here, I signed with a huge manager, huge. And I was like, great.
I'm good. I'm golden.
I'm with like a big dog. Mm-hmm. But what people don't understand is when you're on my level where you're still developing, still growing, still building your resume, a lot of these big managers are sort of an incoming call business. Like they have movies and directors and producers and casting directors calling them and saying, I want this person, this person, this person, but I wasn't at that level yet. So that was something I needed to learn, to not get caught up in the name. And it's more important to find the right person to believe in you. Yeah. So I have that. I have like the best team. I love my agents. I love my managers. Like they're big names, but they're not so big that I'm going to get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. You're going to get the right jobs.
Totally. Yeah.
See. Yeah, I would imagine that's got to be, in the beginning, definitely not a fun process to find. But then when you can get the right people, I mean, that's just the big thing. It's like you surround yourself with the right team. As I was talking earlier about Kirk or my homie Dylan that I live with, it's like you surround yourself with the right people and you just find a way to kind of execute and get things to happen. I saw you were featured in Law and Order, White Collar, House of Lies, The League. Like you've been all over the place. What do you think has been one of the biggest lessons you've learned working in the entertainment industry about life?
Biggest lessons I've
Biggest
learned.
lesson. I'm
Tricky.
sure there's millions.
I mean, so many.
Because you hear all the horror stories of just like people just cutthroat. It's this, it's that.
I think what people are always like, oh, it's all in who you know. And I think that to some capacity is true. Mm-hmm. But I think the biggest lesson I have learned is that it's a little tiny bit of that. Like if I'm going in for something and I have to audition, for example, the pilot I just shot a pilot with Gabrielle Union and Jessica Alba.
Oh my God. And it's, quick pilot.
It's a Bad Boys remake.
So amazing.
And it's called LA's Finest. So I shot that. I've known Gab as an acquaintance in my life, like through my ex-relationship. So I've known Gab for several years, always in passing. I love her, I adore her, but she's not my. We don't hang out on a daily, but I do know her. People are like, "Oh, you're auditioning for this. You should tell Gab." And I'm like, "She can't get me this job. Yeah. I have to get myself in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I have to do a good job. I've got to get the call back.
Yep.
And if I'm in the running for it, if there's a decision of this person or that person, then maybe she can have a voice and say, I like Sabina and I like and I like her and I trust her.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, someone I'd like to work with. But like people assume that it's all in who you know, and it's really not. Like maybe in that last moment, maybe her being a friend of mine in some capacity helped, but like there's no way that like me knowing Gab from going to dinner several times that she's gonna be like, you know what, I'd love to have Sabina do this role, and I like she's not gonna go you know, go out on a limb and have me book this role and I freaking suck. You know what I mean? So
you have to put in the work, and you have to have like the ability to execute the role, and then maybe have them step up and be like, hey, I think she'd actually be good. But
so I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned is growing up in Chicopee, everyone's like, it's all in who you know, and it's all in who you know. And I always felt like I was never going to be good enough because I didn't know anybody. I wasn't connected in the industry, and I wasn't going to make it because I don't know anybody. Where I think that like what I've learned is really, it's like hard work, persistence, staying at it, not losing heart in it, because it's hard. I mean, I've been doing it a long time, and like I feel like at this point in my life I'm finally working steadily, which is
amazing, right?
a really special thing to say. I've been doing it for a long time and working so hard. Like people think it happens overnight.
Yeah, I know. And we talked about earlier before we even started the podcast where it was one of your acting coaches, I think it was in New York, it's just like it's gonna take 20 years to kind of
I was like,
become
that's
the best.
ridiculous.
It's, you know what the thing is too, is I think it's tough is now we're getting to the point in the world where the younger generation, the kids that are 15, 16, they are so used to that instant gratification that it's just, they're gonna have to really want it, you know, because even the difference from when you grew up in Chicopee to where I grew up in Chicopee, you know, when you were talking about like, you know, there were no acting or anything like, you know, opportunities, then I'm sitting here thinking like, wow, I could have started a YouTube channel when I was the same age. I had that opportunity where now it's like kids they think it's going to happen just by clicking a button, where we have somebody like you who's been working at this a long time, and now it's just becoming consistent.
I mean, and in some capacity, it does happen. Like some capacity,
the one in a million, right?
It happens overnight, and then people are like, "Well, what about that story?" But then there's also the stories that you don't hear about. Like you see some actor all of a sudden blow up. They didn't all of a sudden blow up. They've been
working,
probably hustling for years and years and years. And to go back to even this pilot that I had just booked, what I was saying is, this casting director that cast me in, you know, that in LA's Finest, like I've been auditioning for him for years. And those auditions, everyone's like, oh, did you get it? Did you book it? Did you book it? Where people they don't know any better, but really like, it's not about me booking it. It's about me going in there, doing a good job, and knowing that this casting director trusts me. Because when you're casting a show during pilot season, they only have a certain number of appointments to see a certain amount of actors, and they're not going to waste their time. So they're only going to bring in the actors that they trust. So for me to even step foot into that door to audition for that show, I've probably beat out 10,000 people to even walk through that door, because I've been auditioning for this casting director for years, and he knows he can trust me. He knows I'll be prepared. He knows I'll do the best to do my very best work, you know? So it's kind of always a work in progress. Like maybe a new actor coming into LA would have never had that chance to have that audition. You know what I mean? Yeah,
you have to get your name out there. And then even though you might not get these roles in the beginning, it's like at least these people are getting familiar with your face, and they see the passion, and they seeing you stay consistent. And then at some point, I think it just becomes, she actually has the talent, and she's this hungry because she keeps coming back for all these roles. I think we have to give it to her. It's not even like, oh, we feel bad. It's just, we know that she's so consistent and so passionate. Like that's who you want to be around.
And also, if you have a bad audition, like there's casting, I mean, they're turning over fast. Like the casting director's like, I need to show talent and bring it, and it's their reputation too. So if you go in and suck, they're not going to bring you back, and they might not see you for like a bad audition could cost you a lot. Like you might not be going back for this casting director for a year or 2 or 3. They're like, I don't trust them. They're good. They're not just good. Like they weren't prepared. I don't trust them. So yeah, it's a constant work in progress, I guess I should say.
You don't want to waste anybody's time. Let's get into Entourage. That one you kept bringing up, and I was just like, not yet. But talk to me about Entourage. You played as Melanie. That was one of E's or Kevin Connolly's girlfriends in the movie. Talk to me about the process of like locking in that role, and like when you finally locked it in, were you nervous at all, or were you kind of just like, I'm ready to do this?
Let's see. How can I answer this? So when I got the first audition, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But it's so like early.
Yeah.
This is actually,
you don't want to get too excited
so
for it, right?
early. You're like, there's like 25 steps I need to like work out to make this happen. Actually, what's so funny is Jerry Ferrara is married to my best friend who plays Turtle.
Okay.
They weren't married at the time, but it's so funny. The day I was auditioning, it was my best friend's birthday, and he was taking her to Disney that day for a private Disney experience. And he's like, come to Disney with us. And I didn't want to tell him.
You want to tell him that you were.
I didn't want to tell him I was auditioning for it because, like I said, it doesn't freaking matter. Like, me telling him does nothing.
Yeah.
He's not going to get me the job. I have to get me the job.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't make it to Disney. And he's like, Sabina, it's Bree's birthday. You got to come. Have them reschedule the audition. I was like, I don't think I can. I didn't tell him.
Wow.
So I auditioned for it, and then I got a call back. But here's the sneaky thing. The audition said possible nudity. Possible. So my first audition, possible nudity. Second, get a call back. Possible nudity. Now, what people don't understand is every audition I have, I'm getting coached, working on it, memorizing. So it's not like, oh, I got an audition, I just show up.
Yeah.
Like each audition is hours of preparation, of studying, of I got coached on it, I got ready, I showed up to the audition. It's 5 hours of work into each audition. You know what I mean? Like,
how long is this audition? Like literally could
the
be.
audition, I mean, it could be, depends. If it's a chemistry read, it could be 30 minutes. If it's like, if you suck, it could be like
They'll just
30
be like,
seconds.
we're all set, thank you.
I mean, you're so rarely cut off ever. They're going to honor your time. But like audition, they every single one ranges. But anyway, so yeah, I had my first audition, and then I have the call back, and now like my heart's like a little more in it. I'm like, okay, I got a second call back. And then there's the third call back, which is the chemistry read with Kevin.
Chemistry, so that I'm so like amazed by this whole process. I still am like learning so much of like how this whole works. You're getting coached, and like you have people that are helping you out just even step into just audition. This is not even the role. So then when you get to the third and it's chemistry, so then they'll pull in the actual actor.
Yeah, so
and
I
see
mean
how
it's different every time, but in this was this particular process. So the third audition was with Doug Ellen, who created and directed Entourage, and Kevin Connolly, and the casting director who worked on Entourage for all of these years. And so in our chemistry read, it was a mix and match. So they basically mixed, because in my scenes in the movie, there's a dynamic between me, Kevin, and another girl.
Yeah.
So the mix and match, they bring me in, they have me audition with Kevin and the girl, then they have me sit in the lobby, and then they bring somebody else in. So you never have any idea what they're thinking, because in that chemistry read, when I go in, I only went in once. They only mixed me once. And I see other girls being mixed this way, and then they're like, thank you for coming. And I'm like, damn it.
Wow.
I didn't even have a chance to go in again. I'm like, ugh. And this is like goes to show, like, you never have any idea why you did or didn't get a role, or
because that's it. It'll just be like, thank you for your time, and then that's you'll never hear back.
Yeah, and I'm walking away, and I'm like, oh, I'm looking behind me, and there's still girls staying. I'm like, oh, look, they're still here, and maybe they're just bringing them in because they're like, damn, she did better the first time. There's something better, and she just can't get back to doing the good job. Or you never know what the reasoning is. But anyways, yeah, I went in. I'm sorry, my third time was with Doug. Fourth time was with Kevin for our chemistry read, and when my agent called me, she's like, Sabina, they're doing a table read at Warner Brothers. They're recording it for the DVD. You don't have the offer yet. They want you to come do the table read for a fifth time. And now, by the way, it says nudity required.
So they've been kind of pushing off the entire time.
Possible, and then it was like nudity required, and all of a sudden you're. I mean, can you imagine the amount of hours and effort I've put into it?
You're invested. You're already invested.
I've gone 4 times. Like, my heart's in it. I want this. So I'm like, the only opinion in the world that matters right now is my mother and father's. Like, I don't care about anybody else except for what my mom and dad think right now. So I called them, and like I said, them being from Poland, they're like, "What's Entourage?" I'm like.
It's about these 4 guys having to live in the LA life.
So my mom like looks it up, and she Googles it, and she's like, I looked it up. There's like, it's supposed to be a hot movie. It's supposed to be like really anticipated. Sabina, it seems like a big deal.
So she doesn't know the nudity part.
No,
yet.
I told her about the nudity.
Okay,
No.
okay.
And my, they're like, you know what? You've worked so hard your whole entire life. Like, we're European. Nudity's not so weird, maybe. I don't know. So I got my parents' blessing to go forward with it, and And at the table read, that was the most intimidating thing I've ever done in my life, because the table read, here you and me are 2 feet away from each other. So if we're having a chemistry read and I'm looking at you, we can like have a moment, a sincere moment. But I show up to this table read with the entire cast. Kevin's 20 feet away from me.
The entire cast.
The entire cast.
So everybody that's playing like a major role has a say.
Everybody. So it's the whole. You're reading the whole entire script as a cast.
The whole movie.
The whole movie.
At a table.
At a table. So I'm at this chemistry read reading the entire movie, and I still don't have the role. So essentially I'm auditioning for a 5th time, but now I'm auditioning 20 feet away from Kevin, and my opening scene in the movie is our sex scene. So I'm like, oh my God, it was probably the most awkward moment of mine. Actually, no, there's another awkward moment. I'll finish. I'll tell that second awkward moment here in a moment, but it was, our first scene is a sex scene, and he's 25 feet away from me, and we're supposed to be having this like intimate moment with each other, and it was fine. And then, we did the other scenes, and I left there, and Kevin had Facebook messaged me, because we weren't friends, we weren't texting or anything then. So he sent me a Facebook message, and he was like, "That was great, you killed it. I know that first scene was like kind of awkward. We were like super far away from each other, but like you killed it." And I'm like, okay, is that a good thing? Because he sent me a message.
He's opening up the conversation.
He's opening the convo about it. I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna just like again, I'm just gonna like let it go and just trust. But I remember, I forgot to say this. So Jerry, when he found out I was in the mix, he's like, "Why would you not tell me? Why would you not have told me?" And I'm like, because it really doesn't matter. If Jerry was like, "That's my friend Sabina, I'd like to put her in the movie," like.
You wanted to do it for yourself.
I wanted to do it for myself,
Yeah.
and I wanted to do it for myself. Like, did it maybe help if Jerry was like, if it was me and another person, he's like, I didn't know her and she works her ass off, but I had to get there on my own. Yeah. Like Jerry wasn't like, put my friend in the movie.
Yeah. I don't want to just get the easy way in. I want to actually work for it.
Yeah, and honestly, it so rarely ever happens. Like, had he said something, they wouldn't have given me the role. You know what I mean?
From the moment that you did the table read, then they reach out and they offer, obviously.
Yeah, I found out like 2 days later.
So how long is it from then that moment to when you guys actually start firing up, like
shooting?
Yeah,
I shot 2 weeks later,
so
it was so
quick.
fast.
Wow,
which was actually terrifying, because then I'm like, okay, now I have to get in the best shape of my entire life in 2 weeks. It was post Christmas, so I just been eating all the Polish snacks all weekend long at Chicopee, and then like, you have to do this scene now, and I like crash dieted and worked out as hard as I possibly could have. I was like eating broccoli and running, and,
oh my God,
and I mean, I was like, this is forever.
Yeah, this is the like a big, was at the time, would you say it was like the biggest role or biggest opportunity?
Yeah, like it was that type of, something of that caliber. It's like a career changing type thing. Like, I'd done a bunch of things, like you said, Law and Order and White Collar and The League and House of Lies, and I'd done all these things. I had a resume, but like something of this caliber is for sure was the biggest thing I'd ever done.
I know, and then you look at like when I was on YouTube looking at some of like the interviews after. So you guys shoot the film, and then gets post production, does all the editing, and then it rolls out. And now you have all this media and interviews and just
such mayhem. I mean, my God, it was the most wild time of my life.
Yeah, that's so amazing. I was, like I said, I was so happy to like see that you were part of it, because I was such a big fan of like that whole series, and I didn't even catch the series until like way after it had rolled out. So I caught the series, watched everything, and then I think it was probably like a year or two later, then the movie rolled out. I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be so awesome.
It's one of the weirdest surreal moments I've ever had. So I told you I had an apartment with a curtain down the middle.
Yep.
So I lived on 58th between 5th and 6th.
Okay.
And I lived there for 5 years, and I full blown, like, I'm telling you, a curtain that like pushed back, shared a bedroom.
Yeah.
And
that's how New York is, right? Like,
totally,
you just have to hustle, you just have to make it work.
That's if I didn't have money, this is what I had to do. There's this theater right across from the Plaza Hotel. Yeah. And it's this tiny little theater, and it's on my street that I lived on, sharing the room with the curtain.
Okay.
So I'm like I'm in a car with my mother going to the premiere. I'm in the car with my mother, my father, my godmother, my uncle, my brother, my sister-in-law, and we're all in a car together, and I'm driving down this street, and to my left is the apartment that I shared with the curtain down the middle, and I'm not kidding, like 20 feet down on the right-hand side is the theater. And I was like, this is
Talk
wild.
About chills.
Like, it was one of the most surreal moments of my life.
Yeah. you see the full circle of like that's where I literally was. That I was probably just in there, just dreaming, like thinking about.
I used to walk by that theater every day, coming back home from bartending.
Yeah.
Late night, 4:00 in the morning. I'd come back bartending at 4 in the morning. I'd have to go to school at Fordham 3 hours later to go to college. Like that was one of the craziest moments. I had my family in the car and like driving by that apartment. And I was like, that's wild.
That's literally it.
It was wild.
Wow, that is amazing.
And my favorite thing about that premiere is the carpet was fairly small because it's a really small theater. And then like the back of like all my red carpet pictures, you can see my mom with her iPhone taking pictures.
I think I'd seen that.
It's like the sweetest thing. Like my mom and dad are in the background of all the pictures with their iPhones taking pictures of me. It's like that was like one of my favorite days in life.
So much joy for them to see you like get
awesome.
to something of that magnitude. Like that's such a huge caliber, and they're there to see their daughter like actually make these dreams come to life.
Wild. But the one thing I have to tell you, so when we're in this car driving down the street and I'm having this special moment, and I'm kind of like had goosebumps on my skin, and then I look at my family, I'm like, guys, I have a few scenes in the movie, so you're not going to miss me, but there's a nude scene. Let's not watch it. So I tell them, I'm like, this is the dialogue you're going to hear leading up to my scene. So you're going to hear this conversation. Look down for about 30 seconds. And then when you hear this conversation and look up, then it's fine.
You're good.
Then
Everything
I'm done.
happened.
And then in the rest of the movie, you're going to see me. I promise. You won't miss me. I'm in it. I promise. The moment's coming. I look around. I turn around to like kind of warn them. I'm like eyeing my family. I'm like, it's coming. So like make sure to look down. I turn around. They're all watching. All of them. They're all watching.
They're too into the movie.
My dad, my brother, my uncle. I'm like, oh my God, you guys, why did everyone watch? What? They're so proud of me. But anyways, that was the best day of my life of excitement, and quite possibly the most awkward thing I'd ever had to do after when I saw my family. I'm like, hey guys.
Hey, you just saw the nude scene I did? That was me, your daughter.
Hey guys.
I respect it. You have such good energy and just like, I don't know, you just seem very like, I'm just with it. I'm just cool. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that have to do scenes like that and they get weirded out, or they kind of, I don't know, they could take it so much differently, but you're very like outgoing about it.
I was really awkward. Like going at first, I was like, I don't know if I can do this, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute, I'm an actor, and I hope to God I have opportunities that I can play like a meth addict. Actually, I had recently played a meth addict, and that was like one of the most rewarding things I've ever had to play, because I feel like I do get pretty stereotypically type cast, but like until I have the opportunity to branch out of it, it is what it is. I'm not complaining.
Of course, take what you can get.
But you know, it was what was it? Where was I going?
Like
with
the math,
the
going nude like scene of just being
I was at first I was like, oh, I don't want to do this, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna just play comfortable roles.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna play. I have to play things that are gonna be uncomfortable. Like that's gonna make me a good actor. I don't want to just play the. Listen, I love the role I played in Entourage. That was great, but like I don't always want to play that. I want to be able to play like
something that's gonna really push you, like the
really
meth. Like that's gonna make
people
you.
are gonna be like, I would never have seen Sabina as this. And that's what makes a good.
The weight on your shoulders and actually force you to do some like acts that are. Yeah, that's one thing I respect about acting. It's when you see some of the acts that people do. It's like you have to imagine like these people like take themselves into a completely different world. Even that I recently watched that Jim Carrey documentary on Netflix. That really opened my eyes, because I've seen him over the years of just all these big movies, but you don't realize.
I've met him before at a party, like in a very just at a Halloween party, and he's so nice.
Yeah.
We just kind of had to talk about like for some reason just to talk about like drinking and being the life of the party and stuff, and like he just sort of opened up to me about
how long ago was this?
About 3 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe 4 actually, but just was like very sweet, kind, and sincere, and just kind of was like, it's hard for everyone to always expect you to be the life of the party. He was like one of the kindest people I've ever met. Like when he looks at you and talks to you.
Yeah, he's like all in. He's very present. He's just
very, very present. Like so kind, so lovely, so present. He was just a great human being.
Yeah, I guess what I was just trying to say from that is like, you don't really realize the extent that people go to do these roles. You just see the end product, and you don't realize, going all in on these roles and just taking like literally life and putting it on pause and just going, I need to like deliver this best result, and this is what I'm gonna do. But it's amazing to see some of that stuff. If you could tell the 20 to 24-year-old version of yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
I think I lived for your first question you asked me of like who's Sabina today.
Yeah.
I think I lived for a lot of years for everybody else.
Doing
Like,
things.
so like the 20-year-old version of me and the different version of me now, like I think who I am now is like I do what makes me happy and the people I love happy. But like in my 20s, I was like trying to make everybody else around me happy.
Like family, friends, or
Family, friends, my ex, everybody else that like, not myself.
How old were you when you met David?
20.
20. Wow.
20
okay.
to 20 to 30.
Damn, that is such a. Those are big 10 years in somebody's life.
So I think what I would have done differently is just like put myself first more.
Yeah.
Like worried about like myself, my family, not in a selfish way, but
Yeah,
just
yeah.
to be more mindful of like what my needs
Yeah.
were in life as opposed to like everybody else.
Yeah.
And again, not being selfish, but
Yeah.
just like to be like, what does Sabina need? What makes me happy? What like would make me do a really good job on this audition today?
Yeah.
I was so caught up for so many years. Like I think why all of a sudden I'm like working more is because finally I'm like, oh wait, I have to like, this party's not that important. I think for a long time I was really caught up in like going to this party and going to this event and I need to be here for this person and I can't let this person down and it'd mean a lot to this person if I was there and I just was like everything to everybody else but me.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I'm like, okay, here's what's important to me, the people I love, my friends, and like my career, and I like stay home and study now.
Yeah.
And something I never did, and I wish I had learned that earlier.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it tenfold in my life lately.
Yeah.
Your
happiness is probably up because
Oh my
you're
God.
now just doing the things that you actually want to do. You're not going to events or doing things with people because you have to do it to make them happy. It's like, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to do
Totally.
it.
But my life was bananas for 10 years. Like I was at like everything you could ever imagine wanting to be a part of, every event, party, Saint-Tropez, anything
Yeah.
you could imagine
Yeah.
wanting to do, I did that. And then when I kind of my opening statement of me being like, whew, like life had a way of humbling me. I think what I was saying by that was I needed a moment to be like, wow, like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, nobody but me is going to look out for me.
Yeah.
So for me going to these parties and cool things, and it doesn't help me in any capacity.
No.
So like that's I mean, had I told myself at 20, I'd be like, oh fuck that. I'm gonna still. I would have lived my life exactly the same exact way. If I gave myself that advice, nothing would have changed. It took me sort of hitting the reset. I had to hit the reset button on my life at 30, and me taking a look around my life and being like, wow, I don't really have as many meaningful people in my life as I should, because I've just been chasing the wrong things and not even putting the amount of work into my craft that I should have been. Like I was like, I want to be an actor, but I kind of wanted that immediate success too. I was like, I can study for 30 minutes and be good.
Yeah. I feel like too when you're, at 20, if you're exposed to something of that scene, you start getting success and you start traveling, you start going, meeting, connecting with these people. How are you going to say no to these things? When I was 20, which isn't long ago, I was literally like the life of the party. Like me in college was literally like unreal, like full throttle. Oh, you want to go there tonight? I'm going. You want to go there next Friday? I'm already in.
Don't get me wrong. Like I am very rowdy. Like
Yeah.
I am.
I see your Instagrams. I see you like to. You
like,
being at Coachella posting pics.
in the last, it's funny. I'm like, oh, I'm business focused. But in the last few months, I've been to Bonnaroo, CMA Fest, Stagecoach, Coachella, EDC. I'm like I've definitely having a lot. I'm having a lot more fun in my life right now. But I feel like I will go for a weekend and just go hard with my friends. And then when it's like work time, it's work time. But I used to try to do it all.
Yeah. There was one question I didn't know if I was going to ask, and I do want to ask because I never really get into these types of conversations with podcast guests. So you're engaged right now with Tyler Rich, singer and songwriter.
Amazing.
Shout out to Tyler. Seems like a great guy. I've listened to some of the music.
That's sweet.
Do you, aside from Tyler, aside from everybody, do you think it's better off that people go looking for the one, or is it better off that they just go about their life and follow their dreams and follow what's best for them and just think and hope that eventually it's just going to fall into place in the right time?
God, I feel like it's got to be so different from person to person. Like for me, I've never been single. Yeah. I was in a relationship for 10 years. Yeah. And then immediately after the next date I went on, I was in a relationship for 2 years. Wow. What's his face? and then I met Tyler, and I feel like, I don't know. Some people, I know Tyler's so my person because we meet each other halfway. He doesn't feel like he's more important than I am. He doesn't feel like what he's doing is more important. He doesn't feel like what I'm doing should be on the back burner because of what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's so my equal in every way, shape, and form. We're like hustling on the same level. So I don't know. I've never looked to be in a relationship. I've only been on these 3 dates and these 3 relationships that I've been in the last, however many years. But I don't know. I guess he's 1,000,000% the man I'm supposed to be with because of how he encourages me and his career. Like Tyler's doing so great right now. He signed with Big Machine. Big Machine represents, Taylor Swift and Rascal Flatts. And Tyler just had his single come out, and he was on the Today Show a couple weeks ago, and he's killing it. And not for 1 second does he feel like I should be sacrificing to be there with him, supporting him, and or vice versa. Like he's by my side any second that he can be, in both ways. So.
Just like, do you think no, it is on topic. It's just more of just like I said. The big question was like, do you think people are better off kind of looking for it, or do they just follow their passion and think that it falls into place in the right time? Because what's funny is you're sitting across from somebody that really has never been into dating. I've always kind of just been single. Yeah. And before the podcast, I mean, I kind of just floated through. I mean, in high school, I was, an athlete, played basketball, was the voice of Chicopee High School, I was the morning announcement guy. I played. I was always good with a lot of people. And then college, I kind of just messed around, had a good time, traveled a lot, had a good time. And then it wasn't until the podcast I kind of had this narrow vision of like, I need to just go all in on this and just put all my time and energy into this. But at the same time, I question sometimes, am I missing out by not trying to give this woman that I'm attracted to some energy, or should I just be going all in on what I'm trying to do? Because if that doesn't work out and it backfires on me, I'm going to feel like I missed out on all these opportunities.
I totally hear what you're saying. So obviously I was in a relationship for 10 years where I didn't need to work. I didn't need to, with Dave, he made a lot of money, and if I wanted to just sit back and just do nothing, I could have done nothing. Yeah. But for me, I envied, not all, but some of the wives in the basketball world. I had such an envy that they could be content being a wife and mother and being at home. Like, I was so jealous of that. I was like, I'm jealous that fills your heart, and that I am like flying to LA every weekend, auditioning and working hard. Like, I was jealous that what didn't make me content. Like, I so desperately wanted my own thing. And I think whatever relationship you end up being with, whoever is right for you is going to honor that. Yeah. But like for me, I don't know. I couldn't just sit around and not have my own thing that fills my heart. So I think whoever is going to end up being right for you is going to just build you up and make you better to be able to allow you to have your career and be with them. Yeah. But I also think when you try to force something, it doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out.
Like when you force it, it doesn't come your way.
Yeah. It kind of pushes in the opposite direction.
Like when I met Tyler, I was not at all. I was like a dude when I met Tyler. I was like, he met me at Stagecoach, and he came up to me and he was like, he actually had seen Entourage. Oh. But he didn't know that.
He didn't know that.
He didn't know that he had seen me from Entourage. So when he came over and he's like, you look so familiar. And I didn't know how to flirt back. And I was like, oh, you look familiar too. I just was like repeating everything he said. And we talked for a couple minutes. I was so flustered. He's so hot and charming and sweet, and I was like, oh my god, I'm in trouble with this one. I physically ran away like a kid.
You ran away from him.
Mini jogged away. I was like, nice meeting you, and he's like,
where are you going?
Where are you going? I was like, bye, I'll see you later. But I wasn't looking for it. So I feel like there's something that when you're not looking for it, comes your way. Similar when I was saying with like, I don't Google who I'm auditioning for, because when I want it really, really, really bad, it doesn't come my way. So I feel like I try to kind of have that energy with everything. For auditions, I'm always going to do my best. With relationships, if it comes my way, great. With like, if it takes too much effort, it's not meant to be. Yeah. And
it falls into place.
I mean, you hope, right?
Anyway.
Let's hope so.
I'm not worried. Like I said, I'm more of I was just kind of curious to ask, because coming from, like I said, I'm at a standpoint in my life, and I've only talked about stuff like this before. Not too much. I don't try to get into relationships with people because I know it's sometimes personal for people, but I could tell just already an hour into the podcast, like you were very just like bubbly and open, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna fire away, and I'm always curious to hear people's perspective. A couple more questions and then we'll kind of wrap this up. What are the musts in your day-to-day routine? Like, what do you definitely need to do every day that makes you feel like you accomplished the day?
A must. Something I've like recently started implementing in my life was like, it's just really hard. Like, we are our own bosses.
Yes.
So that's a tough thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's up to you to wake up and work hard. And like, if you don't do it, no one gives a shit. Like,
The world's going to keep evolving.
If I don't wake up and check in with my agents and my managers and work hard, if I like sit home with my feet kicked up, like nothing in life is going to happen for me. So my must is like, I need to feel that I've accomplished something in a day, whether it's whether it's something in the social media world, whether it's checking with my agents, whether it's updating my reel, whether it's something in the capacity that I feel like I've been productive.
Yeah.
And I have to do something because I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
You know.
You don't want to waste the day completely.
Don't want to waste the day.
Yeah.
But also I've been starting like a gratitude list in the morning.
So what do you just write out?
Just like a couple little things of like, I'm grateful for this, whether it's, you know, my agent, my manager, because for so long, we just get in that mind space of, oh, fuck, I haven't worked. I haven't booked something. But I'm like, wait a minute. No, you know what? I have a manager. Awesome. Accomplishment. I have an agent. Accomplishment. Woke up today. Awesome. I have people that love me, my like health, all these things that like just kind of like shifted my mindset because I used to wake up with anxiety, being like, I don't have anything today. And I would feel like a loser. I was like, I don't have anything. And I would feel like, what am I in LA for? Yeah. So what I needed to shift for me was like, those little, I sound so stupid, but like it really, really has been important in my life.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. I literally like, I'll wake up some days where I don't have like anything to create. So that gives me, I get anxious because I'm thinking about, I have a whole day ahead of me and I have nothing like to create. I have no podcast. I have no vlog to shoot. I'm literally essentially wasting the day because I feel like this is a day that I need to create something or do something that's going to set me up. You know, I might have recorded 5 podcasts in the last 6 days, but I still am like, I need to be working. I don't want to sit back and relax. Like this is a whole day that could be wasted. And I think another tough part that I'm in, and it's a good problem to have compared to a lot of issues that are in this world, it's that I can't just like slow down, you know? And maybe it's because I'm 24 right now. Like this is the time I got to prove. This is the time that I'm like really trying to build myself a name. So to me, it's like every single day. It's Monday through Monday. Every day I'm doing something, whether it's working, whether it's making content. It's hard for me. And then I'll go through that mind process too of like, okay, well, I'm grateful that I've had these guests. I'm grateful I live in LA. Grateful that I can like actually walk to the gym today, you know? So I'd go through the very similar thing of like, okay, I'm not doing anything creative or moving my career path forward, but at least I've been doing it. And I have to understand like this is a long process, kind of like you were talking about earlier. It's like, this is not going to just happen overnight. Like this is going to take some time to actually.
And it's also, I don't know if you ever fall into this pattern, but it's hard to take time off to leave, even though we have flexible schedules because we're our own bosses, but it's really, really, really hard. It's this is actually sweet because Tyler obviously lives in Nashville. So we're, you know, that Tyler has to be in Nashville for his career. I have to be in LA for my career. Yep. And hopefully we get to a point where we can
somewhere in the
figure out where, but for the time being, like I can't be an actress in Nashville. But his grandmother made a comment. It was so sweet. She's like, sweetheart, Nicole Kidman does it. And I'm like, well, sweet, a little different,
but I appreciate the thought there.
Thank you. I mean, I don't know that we're on the same level here just yet, but thank you. But yeah, I mean, I get like if I go to Nashville for a couple days with him, I'm like, first day or two, I'm okay, and then of course the second I leave, I get a self-tape for a huge audition, so I'm like recording my audition when I'm there, and then I get a voiceover, and then I'm recording my voiceover, and then I'm like, I gotta get back to LA.
I gotta get back
because you can only do that for such a short little window because my agents here like. Everything's so fast. Like you got to be here. So they'll like deal with me being in Nashville for a couple of days. But like if I was like, I'm in Nashville for the month, they'd be like, okay.
Yeah, we have a problem here. You need to get your ass back here.
Okay, we've got some other actors that we're going to put in.
You're putting on pause? We're going to put you on pause. We're putting you on the back burner for now, Sabina.
Totally.
What do you think Sabina's purpose is?
Oh, God. Tough questions today. I think my purpose, I think in some capacity, I feel like to help people in a weird way, like not to be like, I think to help people. I think people resonate with me, like friends and people in life that are going through things. So I think whether it's like helping change people's lives, whether let's hope that I have a role one day that like just really helps change somebody's life in some capacity. They relate to it or whatever. And also like people in my daily life, I feel like people really turn to me. I feel like I'm a rock for a lot of people. So I feel like my purpose kind of is to really help make a lot of people in my life shine and help people.
And I can tell just from
I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. And I can tell just from meeting you, and this literally we met like an hour and a half ago. You seem like that energy person where it's like when you step into a room, people are just kind of uplifted in a good way. They can feel your energy, that presence.
Sweet.
And
thank you.
That's so. It's refreshing because LA, especially being here for 10 months, you just meet a lot of people, and I don't know if this place just sucks people in, but then it becomes a stereotype of it's all about them, or, LA, what can you do for me? But then I'm sitting across from somebody who's been out here for 7, 8 years, who's from the same hometown as me, who's gone through and has been killing it in her industry for a long time. And you can tell very humbly, like stuck to your roots, and still the values that your parents have taught you clearly are still in you today. So it's refreshing for me because I know that. And I tell myself every day, I did a podcast yesterday and I told this girl, I was like, it literally does not matter the success that I have in the future. Like I'm still the same person. Like nothing really changes. And this is an exact, I literally just said this yesterday. Now I'm sitting across somebody that did it. So it's very refreshing to hear. And it's cool to connect with somebody like yourself that is doing it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
It's been a ride. That's for sure.
Oh, I bet.
You know what's so funny? A quick story. I a month ago, or about 2 months ago, I was like, damn, I'm like, I've had some success. Last year, I shot 3 movies last year. So I'm like, I know as an outsider looking in, and all of them are coming out this year. One I did with Jesse Metcalf.
Yeah. Can you say what 3 there are or no? Don't say it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, actually I can. I did one. It's called The Ninth Passenger with
Okay.
Jesse Metcalf. That one's coming out in August.
Okay.
So I'm really excited about that one. Another one called Honesty Weekend that I just shot in November.
Cool.
And then another one called Trapped that I shot in August.
So cool.
So I shot 3 films, but all of a sudden it's pilot season and I'm working hard and like acting so inconsistent that I did 3 movies and all of a sudden I'm like, it was just a slow January, February was so slow. And I was like,
what am I doing?
I'm like, what? I'm 30. I want to have a family. Maybe I had, for the first time in my life, I had the thought of like, maybe this isn't what I'm meant to be doing. For the first time ever, I was like, not giving up on it, but I'm like, I had such a successful year, but you're always kind of back at square one. Like I'm constantly building my resume so people continue to trust me, and my opportunities do continue to grow and get bigger. I for sure wouldn't have booked this pilot with Jessica Alba and Gabrielle Union if I didn't have the resume I had. But you're always back at square one. You finish a job and you're back to hustling, back to
finding the next one, finding the next one, finding the next one.
And it's like it weighs on you. And I'm like in a long distance relationship. I'm not with my fiance because I'm hustling at this dream, and it was the weirdest thing. The next day, I'm telling you, I was like sitting there. I was like, I don't know, pray about it or what. I'm like, maybe I'm not meant for it. The next day, booked this one I can't talk about, but okay. I booked a little show on Netflix, a little drug related show. Okay. So that'll be airing in
the next day though.
I'm not kidding. The next morning, like probably 12 hours of like this breakdown of like I'm quitting shit. Yeah. I booked this. I booked this Netflix thing, and I was down in Mexico shooting within a week, and that'll air in September, and then all of a sudden I booked Bad Boys the next week later. Then the week after that I booked a Hallmark movie. I just got back from Hawaii. I just finished shooting that. So last month was the busiest month of my entire professional life as an actor, but like I swear to God, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. It's just every day getting ready for your auditions and hustling. I was like, I don't know if this is what I want to keep doing.
But then when you start booking in and it starts funneling in, I would imagine it's like, actually, this is what I want to do. The opportunity's here. But when I don't have the opportunities, it's like, do I want to do this?
Totally. There's this meme. I don't know there's this meme of like a guy digging a tunnel in like a dirt tunnel. I'm going to show it to you. There's 2 guys digging in this dirt tunnel, and they're like both going in the same direction. And you see one guy turns around and goes the opposite direction. One guy keeps digging. Okay. But the guy who turned around and went the opposite direction, it shows him he's like centimeter. He's like a centimeter away from his goal. And I just like that meme popped up like on my Instagram like around this time of me being like, fuck it, I'm gonna quit. Like I'm gonna I don't know, I'm gonna open a nail salon in Nashville. Like but like it was like funny that like the second I was like kind of just gave up.
It's all,
and
I
it was
always,
like came to me.
but what I always remind myself, it's like I'm always just right around the corner from the next big thing. I don't know what it is, but I just know that if I keep pushing, eventually I'm gonna come around that corner, and then it's gonna be something bigger. Like the podcast to me has just been like a starting point. Then I started doing YouTube. Then I started vlogging. Then I started, this was like the starting
Vlogging
point.
seems like so much freaking fun. I want to do it.
It's dope. I love it. And especially when you could go out with somebody, like I have Kirk, he comes out.
You want to go rage with me at some music festivals?
There you go.
Do some drunken vlogging with me?
You know what's better is like
Amazing.
you have the typical vloggers that, not typical, I don't want to, call it the vloggers, but you have people that have to like hold up the camera and like look into it. Whereas when you have somebody shooting for you, you get to just live your life. And you get to have everything captured. You know what I mean? So yes,
You're
we'll make it work.
Coachella,
We'll make
little
it work.
EDC
See?
action.
That's
with
what
me?
I'm saying. It's so dope. But I guess what I was trying to say, it's like right around the corner. And if you had told me a year ago that I'd have a YouTube channel with over 100 videos, I'd be like, I don't know what you're smoking. And then it happens, and then you're right around the corner, and it keeps going and going. So I guess that is just a reminder of like you just. Even in the moments of like, is this right for me? Just do it. Just do it and keep showing up and keep showing up.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Kicked you.
You're good. Before I ask the closing questions, this is when I reverse the role.
Okay.
I allow my guests to ask me any one question.
Okay.
KB, about something we talked about today, something you want to know about me. 2 rules. It cannot be a question I asked you today, so you can't ask the same question.
Fair.
And the second one is it can't be necessarily like about the podcast.
Okay.
Because I got a lot of people like, why did you start it and some other stuff. But those are your 2 rules.
Let's see.
Any one question.
For the ladies listening out there, what's your type?
What's my type? Blonde.
Yeah. Okay.
Blonde.
Butt or boobs?
But good question. And more even so I would say blonde, nice little butt, and definitely somebody that is like passionate. That like they're so like what really turns me on is when I meet a woman that is like so passionate about that one thing, and she doesn't care about what anyone else says or whatever, like your opinion on it. She's like, yep, I'm gonna still do it. And it could be about running that nail salon. It could be about making cardboard boxes. It could be about starting her own podcast. Like when I meet somebody that is that passionate, is just so driven, that just pulls me in, because I'm like, this is the one, you know what I mean? So
I'm laughing only because it's so funny. So when Tyler and I started dating, I was like talking shit to him because I was like, some of the girls you dated were like blue-eyed brunettes. And I was like talking shit to him, and I was like, what's your type? Because I'm like green eyes, blonde hair. I was like, I don't know. I was talking shit to him, just being stupid, like silly, like that, like actually, like. And he's like, oh yeah, what's your type? And I was like, ooh, fair question, because I went from like 6'9", then to 5'7", the next one, and then Tyler's like a tatted up, like handsome.
You've had a spectrum.
Literally could not be any more opposite of each other. Like Ty is like nothing like my exes at all, and it was so funny because he's like, oh yeah, what's your type?
Yeah.
And then I was like,
actually don't know.
And then I was like, you know what, passion.
That's what you hit him with? That's what you hit him with?
You know, it is, but it's genuinely like, I think it's so sexy when someone's passionate about something, whatever it is. If there is something that you love, and you're doing it, and you're passionate about it, and you wake up and that's what you eat, sleep, and breathe, like that's so sexy. Yeah. So I was like, passion. I was like, and I really meant it too. I wasn't trying to get myself.
What did he say? How did he react? Was he like, yeah, bullshit, or did he actually?
I was surprised by my own. It was a genuine, real response, because like that's so sexy to me. Yeah. But like I dug myself in a hole by like asking him questions, and he turned it on
and then
me.
He reversed it on
and then
you.
I was like, I don't know what to say. And then like I really responded. I was like, no, anybody I've ever dated is because of like their passion and love for whatever it is that they did.
Yeah. I think that's what it comes down to, is if you can find somebody that's passionate, then that's, I think, eventually, I mean, obviously there has to be like the physical attraction too, but if there is no passion behind that person, I think it just runs dry, because they're not, kind of going back to what you had said, which I loved, was like, I'm around wives who kind of just content and just kind of happy. It's like,
by the way, wasn't judging that.
Yeah,
I actually was jealous of it.
Yeah,
I was like,
totally
I fucking want your life.
And I totally get that, but that's what I want, is I want somebody who's hungry, who's getting up same time as me, or maybe even earlier than me, and getting after like that. That's like the real turn ons, like somebody that's passionate, doesn't matter what it is, but is just visioned on, has their eyes on the prize for something, is not going to take anybody's shit, and is going to be like, yeah, sorry, we're not going to dinner tonight. I got this job I got to do. It's like,
Awesome.
all right, I
Great.
like that. I like
it.
that.
Totally.
Do your thing. Do your
Totally.
thing.
So it's so funny because we were at Tyler. It was CMA Fest this week in Nashville, and it was like the busiest week.
That's got to be huge.
Huge, and especially like with him having his single out now, and he was so busy, so busy. But I'm used to like Tyler and I met when we were in a very different place in our life of like just drinking, having fun, like, and he was like working. And there was a moment where I was like, I want to go out tonight, and he's like, I have to work. I'm like, okay, I'll hand it to you. I'll let it slide. It's kind of like, it's actually, for like a fleeting moment, I was like upset about it. Yeah. So I was like, damn it, I want to go have fun. And then I was like, you know what? We have worked our entire lives to have to say, I can't go to the bar tonight. I've got to wake up tomorrow for, I have a signing tomorrow. Like, I was like, damn, like, it's a great problem to have. So I had a fleeting moment where I was like bummed. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be at the damn bar. I want us to be in bed early working out at the gym tomorrow because you have a big day tomorrow.
Yeah. That's cool. Especially if he's doing like signings and stuff like that, like performing or like going out to network and do anything like that. It's like,
so
wow,
wild.
that's actually like seeing the full circle of actually bringing his dream
By the way,
life.
he right before he signed his deal, let me tell you this, he was doing his showcases, like meeting with like different, all the different, lead agencies and stuff down in Nash. And he was like, the same freaking thing I'm telling you. He was like, he had this talk with me. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do if I don't do this. I don't know, something about life when you're like back with your back against the wall and kind of just like let it go. And you're like,
and all it took was that, like a split
I'm
second.
telling you, it was like days later than he got his record deal. It was wild.
Wow. Shout out to Tyler for putting in the work then. Putting in the work. Closing questions for you. I want you to imagine there's a picture frame on the wall.
Okay.
It's 10 years from now.
Okay.
Who else? What's in this picture? You're in it for sure.
I hope so.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be weird if you weren't. I always like screw up this question. It's like you're a picture frame. You're in the picture frame 10 years from now. What and who else do we see within that picture frame?
I hope I have some kids then.
Okay.
So
kids, plural. So there's
two.
I
don't want them to like outnumber me.
Okay.
Me and Ty. So like, I
Fair
want
enough.
2 kids.
Older brother, older sister.
I want what I've had. I want like
Whatever
I want
comes.
a little boy first.
Okay.
So like I want a little boy first, a little girl. Tyler's all tatted up, so he's always said when the kids do like their first drawings, he wants to get their drawings tatted on him.
Super
so
cool.
I see like a hot dad all tatted up with like kids,
little dinosaurs or something, little stick figures.
Yeah, little whatever it is, little stick figures. So I see us together, and let's hope that like my career continues growing and his does too. And I hope we're like a bossy couple with a family working hard, but like I think because we've worked so hard and we're having success at this age as opposed to like 18, I feel like our appreciation and gratitude is like so endless.
Way up.
So I let's hope a little family with like the utmost love and respect for each other.
Here's the thing. Where's that picture though?
Where's it hanging?
No. Is it LA? Is it Nashville? Is it Chicopee?
I don't think it's gonna be in Chicopee.
Come on.
Maybe. You know what? I think a picture is gonna be in Chicopee in a big house. I hopefully can afford to get my family one day. So I hope it's gonna be in my family's big home that I hope I can get. And then I think it'll be. I think we're gonna honestly, if our careers are where I hope they are, I think we're gonna have to have a house in both.
Both. That's a pretty good lifestyle. A little
I'm
Nashville,
not
little LA
not mad
action.
about it. A little combo.
Little combo.
Maybe I'll open that nail salon.
Hey, the little paint emoji. You know what I mean? That's super cool. Where can people find you on social media?
My Instagram is just at Sabina.
You're a badass for having that. Just
We
Sabina.
listen, Sabina made a mistake by not posting for about 10 years, so we got that account. And my Instagram, my Twitter's Sabina Gadecki with my Polish last name.
Gadecki. Before I ask the last question, thank you for coming in today. This has been so, like I had
Thanks
just said
for
like
having
5
me.
minutes ago, you're here from Chicopee, Mass, and then just hearing your story and your passion and just like the work ethic. I think the one thing that really has stood out to me the most on this episode was just not wanting like the handout, even knowing Turtle from Entourage. Is his first name Jeremy? I forget
Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to reach out to him. I just want to do this to myself. And that's even how I've gone about my approach with podcasting. It's like, I'll even connect the dots, get a big guest, and that's kind of like the end of that conversation. And even though I know they're best friends with the next person I'm trying to get, I'm not going to reach out to them. Like, I want to do this by myself. And that's just, to me, super inspiring, because it's like, if you've been able to do all this you're gotten to this point in your life by putting the weight on your shoulders. It's just a reminder for people like myself who are trying to do their own thing. Like, you can do it. You just have to be willing to
not
to
to
work
be like
for
talking about memes the whole time. But I just saw this this meme the other day, and I was like, holy shit, yeah. It says like I think it's I forget who said it. Maybe Chris Rock. And he was like, do you ever notice when you're standing on the side of the road trying to flag down cars, when your car's broken down, no one wants to stop to help you. But when you are pushing your car, people stop to help. So like that resonated with me, because I have a lot. I can't tell you. I look at my Instagram DMs and Facebook DMs, and I have people from Chicopee, from wherever, strangers being like, can you help me? Can you help me get an agent? Can you help me? Can you help me? And I'm like, I don't. I've worked so hard. Like, you want to help people that are helping themselves. So like that wasn't a meme. I guess I should say that quote. I forget who it was who said it, but it's like that like resonated with me. It's like, you want to help people that you see are pushing their car up. So that's why I don't want to ask Jerry for the favor, because he's going to be like, fucking work for it. Yeah. Like, I'm going to push my car up and then hope people see me working and want to come up beside me and help push.
I love that. That is so true, because that's like the best way to look at life. If you see somebody pushing that car, I saw it last week. Somebody was like trying to tug, and all of a sudden there was 3 guys that hopped out of 3 separate cars. Were helping the guy push. But if you see that person, I always think it's like nobody stops. Nobody. No, because you have the hazards on and whatever. But it's the same thing with life. Like, yeah, people. I think that it frustrates me too, because I don't get it. Probably I don't even get it really often. But it frustrates me when people just don't understand that they shouldn't be just given like. You'll probably respond to the ones that you see are like literally doing it and like, hey, I need advice on this, versus I just want to become an actor. Like, can you get me an agent? They don't. I feel bad because it doesn't cross their minds of like understanding how this world works and how that's not going to work at all. I'm
gonna read you a message I recently got from somebody. So I've gotten to this point that I just screenshot now. I've got a folder on my phone of just.
Is this like a random text, or is this an email, a DM?
This is a random text I got from somebody I'd worked with. So I get texts like this. I have a folder of just screenshots of the requests I get.
Oh, come on.
This is someone that I'd worked with who I thought was really, really lovely, but they worked in on a film, but they're not an actor. Okay. So I randomly get this text. Hey, odd question. Do you have any connects to Martin Scorsese or Todd Phillips? They're working on a standalone Joker film, and I would love to audition for it. I'm not sure who the casting agent is right now, but they're looking for a younger actor to portray the role. Like, this is someone I'd met one time, and you're asking me if I know Martin Scorsese or Todd Phillips. Like, do you? First of all, I don't. But second of all, if I did, I would hope to God that I would have the opportunity to audition for, like, what do people think? Yeah. Like, this is, and I have a whole folder of, like, I'm going to have to write a show one day of just the asinine things I get asked all day long. Yeah. I mean, it's, like, hilarious.
People have to understand how much they have to give before they even ask, and they don't. And will you take the time to respond to people, or do you kind of?
No, I respond because they just a lot of times don't know any better. So I'm like, God, I say like, God, you know what? I wish I knew him. I wish that was my buddy, because if I did, then I'd be hopefully in I'd probably
you play it off, right?
You don't take like offense to it or whatever. Don't know any better, so like I do respond, but like sometimes I'm like, oh my God, if life was so easy, don't you think I'd be in that? If that was my buddy, don't you think I'd be in all his films? Do you know what I mean?
I literally I can't even tell you like the feeling I get to even think of me texting like a previous guest who I just have had, and that's it. There's no like real relationship, and to even ask for a favor would be like, I can't even get myself to think of actually doing that. So it's just, people just, they don't understand. It's just, you will appreciate the wins more when you put in the work, and it probably is going to take longer. It's going to take a lot more research, but it's just, there's a taste of success that tastes great when you've done it yourself, when you built it from the ground up.
Do you know my first audition was for Mean Girls?
Really?
Like my first audition ever. I probably would have been so screwed. Truly. If that would have been like my first job that I booked and like blew up from that, I would have like first of all, I probably wouldn't be a good actor, because I probably wouldn't have put in the work that I've actually put into it now. Like I would have been screwed. I would have been like instant success, wouldn't have trained hard, wouldn't have worked hard. I mean, who knows what would have happened, but that was my first audition I've ever had.
The girl that played in that in the scene with Entourage when you guys were with E.
Yeah.
Is she the girl she's not the one from Mean Girls, right?
No,
She
she's
kind of
not.
looks
She's so pretty.
right?
She's so sweet.
Yeah,
she's become my little buddy.
Okay.
Yeah, she actually
She
does
kinda
because
looks
she's
like
got her big blue eyes.
Yeah, I got you.
yeah.
I got you. I'm just thinking about it
Yeah,
now.
you're right. She actually does look very familiar. I hadn't thought of that until you
Oh
mentioned
my
it.
God, that's crazy though. Mean Girls though, huh?
First audition.
My God.
I probably would have been a little jerk. I would have been like, if I booked that in life, I'd be like, yeah, I'm killing it. I booked
I'm
my
the
first
best.
job.
I'm the best.
I wouldn't.
All right, so last question. I could spend another hour talking to you. Last question for you. I want you to. There's somebody that's listening right now, hasn't found a passion, hasn't found like their purpose. What's the best 2 to 3 pieces of advice you would give them?
Oh, that's tough because listen, I mean, I was like in that moment 2 months ago when I told you, like, I thought I found my passion my whole life since I was a little tiny girl, which was acting. And then all of a sudden I was like, if not this, I was doing some soul searching myself.
Yeah.
I was like, if not this, then what?
Yeah.
I mean, I think whatever it is that you sort of like admire or gravitate to, like since I was a kid, I would always like watch actors and be like, oh my God, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So I feel like people have a calling, whatever it is, whether you're watching vloggers or whether you're watching like the mechanic, whatever it is, and you're like, I want to do that. Like, I feel like people probably have interests and passions that they don't are often overlooked.
So just try it.
I think
do
just
it.
like try it. I don't know if that's good advice because I was basically 2 months ago. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do if it's not this. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna?
Yeah. I mean, I think it is sometimes right in front of us, but we just have to go out there and be willing to take that first step
It's
and to
scary
try
as
it.
hell.
Yeah.
Like if you had said to me, my 15-year-old version living in Chicopee, like what I would be doing at 34, I would have no idea. Actually, I probably would have said living in New York or LA acting. I probably would have said that.
But you wouldn't have known the amount
like,
of what would have happened.
I had no idea the amount of work that goes into it.
Yeah.
Truly, I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea. I don't know if I would have done it. I'm just kidding. I would have.
This has been amazing. Sabina Gadecki, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank
Another
you.
Chicopee representative. Holding it down for the 413. We'll catch you guys next time. See you.